post-match availability featuring Reilyn Turner and Mackenzie Arnold. Before we get started, just a few reminders. We will be recording on our end via Zoom. We also have an additional camera recording, so we'll send out a recording right after this concludes with players and Rob. 15 minutes for those who are joining us via Zoom. Make sure to raise your hand and we'll call on you. We'll make sure to make time for you to ask a couple questions. And before we begin, I also have a few notes that I'd like to read before we get started. So with her goal today, Reilyn Turner scored her 6th goal for Portland across all comps, snapped an 11-game scoring drought, and bagged her 2nd overall playoff goal, 2nd most in club history, tied with Emily Sonnet. Only Kristen Sinclair, Tobin Heath, and Lindsay Heaps have more playoff goals with 3. Olivia Moultrie recorded her 2nd ever playoff assist. Her first one last season against Gotham was also an assist for Reilyn Turner. Goalkeeper Mackenzie Arnold recorded her 3rd consecutive clean sheet across all comps and first NWSL playoff clean sheet. Also Portland's first playoff clean sheet since its championship-winning 2-0 game versus Kansas City Current in 2022. Thorns are 2-0 against San Diego in postseason action. First one was a 2-1 win in 2022. And then 7 Thorns made their NWSL playoff debuts. Goalkeeper Mackenzie Arnold, defender Isabella Bays, defender Caitlin Torpy, defender Mallory McKenzie, defender Diane, forward Dana Castellanos, and forward Pietra Torren. Head coach Rafael also recorded his first playoff win since taking over in 2024. With that said, we'll go ahead and get started with our first honorary question, as always, Mrs. Taylor Vincent.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
You want to start us off with your thoughts on the match? Quite a fun one.
Yeah, honestly, probably the most proud team performance I've ever had for this team. It was absolutely unreal the way we defended from start to finish. I honestly, besides those 2 knocks to the head, I don't think I really had to make any saves that whole game, and that was credit to literally the whole team. Of course the back line, but yeah, from front to back we were absolutely unreal, so yeah, I couldn't be more proud of the girls.
I mean, yeah, pretty much said it all, but I'm really proud of us. Like Max said, our defense was locked down and they played lights out, and I'm really proud of us in that aspect. But I feel like although we started slow in the attack, the end of the second half and extra time we really were pushing and we had a lot of confidence, and I feel like we knew that it wasn't going to get to PKs, and we played with that mentality and we were able to get chance after chance, and I'm really proud of us.
So Reilyn, your playoff goal last year was also Olivia Moultrie assist.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of talk about your guys' chemistry and kind of when you saw her running, right, just found her on the back post?
Yeah, I mean, Liv, her balls are very on point, and she's just a very clinical player, and I know when she's on the ball I need to get in. She knows where to put it, and she knows where I'm going to be, and I feel like we have a lot of chemistry. Like I said after the match, we've known each other since she was about 10 years old. She played with my team, so we go way back, but yeah, I mean, our chemistry, I feel like just as a team in general is unmatched, and you saw that today, I guess.
For Macca, you talked a little bit about the defensive effort. 3rd clean sheet in a row. Obviously 2 clean sheets was the most you've done this season so far last week. Kind of what does that do for y'all heading into playoffs? And I guess, can you talk about just kind of the defensive unit as a whole?
Yeah, I think I've spoken about this before, and I think obviously not ideal having 2 clean sheets all season prior to that, but I think I've said before, this league, there's goals scored left, right and centre from the first to literally the 110th minute, so we don't really take anything away from the lack of clean sheets, but yeah, of course, going into a semi-final, coming off 3 of them in a row, it's going to give us confidence for sure, but again, it's not something that we really lock down on, because we know that at the end of the day, if we win the game, it doesn't really matter, so yeah.
And then Reilyn, your 2nd goal in playoffs in 2 playoff games. I guess kind of curious how that has come to be. Do you think there's like any sort of switch, or do you think it's just like a right place, right time, you're always gonna try to be there?
I don't know if it's a right place, right time thing, maybe, but I mean, I've played like a different position every game, so I mean, I feel like it's just a team mentality thing, maybe. We know we're in a winner go home situation every game, so I don't know if that's like a group mentality thing, but yeah, I don't know.
Then for you, Mackenzie, you went down a few times during this game. You gave it everything. You had the back line, gave it everything. 3 back-to-back, clean sheets at this point. Playoff win. What did, then the crowd chanting, "She's our keeper." What was that moment like for you, just to kind of hear all that and soak it in?
Yeah, I think it's the first time I've heard it all season, to be honest, so it was pretty special. I think after you go down after a head knock like that, and it's a little bit taken aback after hearing the crowd, and they just get around you every single time, and yeah, it's really special to play at Providence Park, and it's probably a place that I've never really experienced before for club soccer, and yeah, it's incredibly special. I think we're incredibly lucky to have the fans that we do.
Then Reilyn, you've been dangerous all season. Sometimes the goals haven't come, whether it hit the post or things like that. But you connected to the lid there, back-to-back, playoff games. You've always come up in these big moments. What was that like, just to do it at home this time?
It's a very different atmosphere at home, obviously. We have the best fans in the world, I think. Obviously, across the league, you saw the stat they posted before the game. We have the largest average attendance, and you can definitely feel that in the stadium. So, obviously, it's nice scoring in a playoff game regardless, but here at home is just something different. It's a different feeling.
All right, we're going to open it up to Jeff Kassouf joining us on Zoom. Can you hear us, Jeff? You can just type your question and we'll come back to you. All right, next, here in the room. Oh, there you go.
Can you both talk to extra time? It looked like you were a different team. Was that like a mentality change, or do you think San Diego was just more gassed? It looked really different from the first 90 to extra time. Can you speak to that?
I wouldn't say I felt different within the team. It might have looked like we were playing different, but I think when we came together after full time and sort of got in a huddle, and we just sort of spoke about how special it was that we were in this position, going into extra time. It could be our last, we had no idea. So yeah, Sam just sort of gave us a speech, and it really lifted us like it always does. And then of course having the fans sort of lift us and know that this was going to be, regardless of the outcome, was going to be our last couple minutes against at Providence Park. So yeah, I think it just lifted us at the end of the day.
Go ahead, Bill.
And then, Reilyn, you obviously scored facing the. Wait, I'm losing track of things.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
She's just coming at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah. Obviously, that's what I thought, and then I was questioning myself. Scores facing the north end, obviously getting to end the game defending the north end.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of just talk about the fans in that moment and kind of with that extra, just like pushing through those extra 30 minutes?
You said scoring in front of the north end?
Yeah.
I low-key blacked out a little bit. I mean, it just felt like an eruption behind the goal. Our fans are the best, and you can feel that, and I just feel like everything was so chaotic in the moment, but I definitely felt the energy, and they back us 100% of the time, and whether that's if we're losing, they're still marching, they're still chanting, and you can feel that so much in the stadium. And obviously we finished the game defending that goal. We knew that the sun would be in our eyes, and we really had to lock down and limit their chances and opportunities, and I feel like we did that pretty well.
Same.
And then, pretty thin roster these past couple of weeks. Obviously, there's been a lot of injuries. You're now played 120 minutes. You're facing Washington, who also played 120 minutes and went to penalties. Do you think there are any specific things you're doing to like combat the like kind of wear and tear of the season, or do you think it's just like you're in it, you gotta just keep going and get to the end?
Yeah, I feel like it's at a point in the season where you have little things here and there, but it's playoffs, so just kind of deal with it.
I think we've sort of been dealing with it the whole season. Unfortunately, we've had a couple major injuries to really important players in our team, and I think it just shows the resilience of our team and the way we've come together and sort of got around them, but got around each other as well, and sort of, I think everyone really wrote us off at the start of the season. So to be in this position with this group, yeah, I couldn't tell you how special it is.
And Amaka, you talked about the team being written off, at the beginning of the season, and then you talked about just the special culture. You called it the best team atmosphere you've ever been with. Can you just kind of talk about just celebrating with that team at the end of the game, but also just everything this has meant so far, being in the semifinals as well?
Yeah, I think I just briefly touched on it with the major setbacks that we had throughout the season, and I think it sort of gave us a mentality that we sort of had no other choice but to come together. Like I said, this is the best group of people that I've ever shared a locker room with. On and off the field, we literally can't get enough of each other. We're always hanging out, and I think it just goes to show on the field. And I think at the end of the day, you really want to do it for each other, and you just see so much pride in each and every player at full time, and I think that's where the celebrations come from. So.
All right, we have no questions from Jeff joining us via Zoom, so any additional questions in the room before we let these two go?
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you both.